All right, rough start, but here's where we bring it back. It all starts with this round, the run of victory after victory. So now we're a mono black Eldrazi deck, apparently. Sand is not great. I think I have to mulligan, but the Fatal Push is making it tempting. I mean, the fact that I'm also missing green mana has to make this a mulligan, right? It's just not good. Oh man, talk about a bad hand. I mean, these buy me some time if I draw like exactly, but it has to be like exactly Eldrazi Temple for this to even be like remotely playable. Yeah, I mean, this is a keep, but we're gonna have to get very lucky here. It's better than the average 4, I'm sure, by a significant margin here. I don't know. Maybe that 7's a keep, but I don't think so. Oh man, against Floodstrand, I'd really like to not name Bird off of this cavern. I think if my opponent starts Flooded Strand, I'm just going to have some uncounterable Matter Reshapers instead. I mean, I could draw another cavern, but I feel like it's just way more likely that I draw like a different green source, right? Than it is that I draw another cavern. And if I do draw another cavern, then I can name Bird off of that one. Another green spell. Alright. We got something into play. Opponent has a search for Escanta, though, and that card is great. Been a Drowned Catacomb. Oh, so they're on Esper. Esper Field of Ruin, though. So far, very blue-white looking, but they've been this Drowned Catacomb, so they might be like a little more tap-out Esper, you know, kind of a light Esper splash kind of style. Or they might just have, like, you know, a minimal number of Field of Ruins in their Esper deck. Well, that unlocked our green mana at least. If we miss our land drop, I think we just definitely Stirrings instead of Bird. Since then we can actually play a land drop assuming we hit one off the top 5, or we can just draw a new Eldrazi Temple. So let's attack first. Since I can't, like, you know, Stirrings into a Haster and cast it or anything like that. So we'll just go ahead and get over there. So if I cast this other Reshaper, I run the risk of getting Detention Sphered. That would be pretty bad for us. Outside of Detention Sphere, though, we're not really worried about any of the things our opponent can have in that spot. I think I got to take the Smasher over the Endbringer here and over the Llanowar Wastes. But I just have to keep the pressure on, so... Detention Sphere is certainly a possibility here. They're just going to path this guy. Oh, that's perfect. That ramps us into... We got in for our damage. That ramps us into our Reality Smasher. Almost wish I had taken the Endbringer now. But I think we probably still did the right thing. Opponent keeps a card on top with the search this time. Plays Delta. They could have, like, Settle the Wreckage. I think I'm much happier to Thought Not than Smash now. They also could just have Supreme Verdict and just take 8 and then Verdict. We're doing pretty well this game, which is good since our mulligan, a mulligan to 5 would have made it much tougher otherwise. But we're definitely in this game thanks to the hot fire from the top of our library. All right, we'll start with an uncounterable Thought Not. They could still, like, Spell Quell it, though. But it starts tapping mana opt. Sure. Guess they were probably thinking about whether they wanted to fetch first or not. Now they fetch. What do they scry? Or excuse me, how did they scry with that bottom? Shuffled that right back in at least. What did they grab off that delta? That water grave? They shocked? They have logic knot, snap, snap, cryptic. Okay, so they're going to be snap pathing my thought knot. Oh man, their hand is sweet. It's going to be tough. They don't really have anything else to snap. So I probably take this cryptic. They might logic knot the stirrings. They probably should if I cast it here, but then at least they don't get to snap path me yet. Not that that really matters. Yeah, I think I take cryptic. I think I still cast this, but ooh, it resolved. That's lucky. I think my opponent's supposed to logic knot this, and then they get to untap and snap. Oh, they're not even gonna snap path here anyway. Well, now I'm just confused. Bin, drown, catacomb. Our turn again. Well, I mean, they basically got a blind draw. I have another smasher as backup now. My opponent is going to have to use their mana on snap path. Pretty sure we're just going in. Extra bird, not super exciting here, but we'll live, hopefully. Hopefully, we'll see. For now. This looks like snap. Leaving our opponent with snap, logic, not mystery card. We'll see what they path here. Block reshaper is fine with me. Guess I should on F6 in that case. Path my thought knot. So smasher's getting there. We have no more basics. Opponent gets an extra card, so 2 mystery cards now. Hopefully that mystery card wasn't a path. Okay, cool. Opponent goes down to 5. Reshaper triggers, and we get a Liliana of the Veil. Yeah, we'll put that on the battlefield. It's let's say that's fortunate. That's pretty fortunate. So opponent has Snapcaster, triple mystery card. Attention Sphere, Esper Charm. Okay. Well, that's a bummer. We lose our other smasher. But opponent does have to have a 2 or 1 mana way, or 3 mana way apparently, of dealing with this smasher, so they could have Detention Sphere, but that does mean we get to keep our Liliana at least. They do have Path. They are going to have to discard their Snapcaster though. Or they're just going to not discard a card. Opponent says misclicker bug. I have heard about a bug, but I haven't run into it yet. The last few times my opponents have tried to kill my smasher. The last few times my opponents have tried to kill my smasher, they did discard and successfully kill it. So I thought that there wasn't an irrelevant bug anymore, but that's kind of a bummer. Magic Online's tough stuff. I guess there's really nothing to be done here. Just trying to figure out if we could just play the game as though the smasher wasn't there, but it's just going to get kind of complicated and weird, so I think we'll just... Apparently, while I'm thinking about this, I'm giving my opponent an extra draw step, so I guess it's all good, but... So that's obviously my bad. Scavenging Ooze is obviously creature type ooze, right? I'm not a crazy person. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess we'll just move on. Play the game from here. Which is kind of a bummer because I mean they're still in it, right? Like they could, if they hit like land this turn, they could like activate his Kanta and like play land D-Sphere. Fatal push. Yeah. And still be in the game, so I don't know. Probably want to consider these pulses. Definitely want these Lilianas. Against an Esper list, I'm a lot more excited about relics than I would be if I was playing against like blue-white. I definitely want these Thoughtseizes. And I mentioned that because against blue-white, they just wouldn't really have that many graveyard-based things, but this list is much more likely to have additional Snapcasters, all the way up to potentially 4. And on top of that, they're going to have Logic Knots that we've seen, and also the searches, of course. That's a little bit less of a big deal since search on the front side is still good. So maybe some of those. And Maelstrom Pulse is hard to say against an Esper list. Against Blue, I'd definitely be happy to have them. Against Esper, a little less so. I also have these oozes, so I kind of don't need those for like just the minimal number of cards I mentioned, but they cantrip, so I have room. If I have room, they're reasonable. Definitely want to shave some of those, if not even potentially all of them. I think all of them. Like I could have the Maelstrom Pulses instead of those. I don't think the pulses are going to be great. I think I would just prefer to have these 2 relics. I know, like I said, I don't think it's terribly exciting against my opponent's deck, but it is a cantrip. In a certain sense, allows me to be a little more threat dense, since I'm on just like a pile of cards that are reasonable against my opponent's deck. Oh, I don't want all these birds in. That's a mistake. I should definitely be cutting some number of these against the Wrath deck post board. I don't want to be too slow, but I think when I'm this threat dense, I also don't have to be particularly fast. I think I might actually try cutting all of them and try the pulses. They are going to have stuff like, you know, Detention Sphere probably, which I would prefer to have Abrupt Decay, of course, and they probably have some kind of Planeswalkers. Again, it's harder to know against an Esper list. Be very happy to have them against blue-white. A little more questionable against Esper, and now I do have a million 3s and I'm cutting my birds, but again, I think it's fine to be clunkier. Maybe I can't really afford to. Maybe I do need those birds. I guess we'll see. We have a relatively high land count, though, 23, and we do have Ancient Stirring still, so I think overall it's fine. But this is a lot of relics, so I could see having like 2 less relics and having the birds. But anyway, we're going to keep this. Happy to have a hand with stirrings with the way that we've boarded. See if we can find Eldrazi Temple or Cavern. There's an Eldrazi Temple. Let's put a couple Endbringers on the bottom. We'll have to keep that in mind if we want to shuffle those back in when we get an opportunity. I'm not really going to be playing around Mana Leak here. My opponent's already shown us Logic Knot, and they don't have the ability to Logic Knot here. They just think twice. Sure. Kind of wish we had resolved our relic now, I guess, but... So it looks like we're just playing Ooze and Relic. So I guess I play this, play Relic, resolves. Could try to play the other. That just doesn't really make sense. Let us if they want to flash it back, they're just going to get to flash it back. There's no, like... I mean, unless I want to pop this relic to stop them from flashing back Think Twice now that it's resolved, but... That just... or actually, why that wouldn't even work. They'd have to do something else in response, obviously. I don't know why I'm saying that. But either way, there's just no way we're going to catch that Think Twice at this point unless I cast this earlier. Could get Wrath here, but it wouldn't be that big of a deal, so I'm happy to play this. So yeah, I mean, there's no reason to play our turn differently because they get to flashback the Think Twice. They're just going to get to do that regardless, so it's just Relic Ooze since that's the most mana efficient line for us and gets us kind of on the table. Opponent does have a Wrath, and we are just hitting off these Reshapers. That's just insane. A brick on land, so it might be, yeah, I probably just minus this. Thought not, yeah, that sounds good to me. It's going to take a Reshaper, but definitely okay with that one. Hand's pretty threat dense, so I'm okay with this Thoughtseize, negate, and opt. Field of Ruin, pretty bad for me, but there's nothing I can do about that, so... I mean, I could take, like, not Supreme Verdict, right, and then they'd be more likely to, like, Supreme plus something instead of field me, but it's just got to be this. We're also going to exile that one. I already used my Lily, have no land drops, and our Thought Not Seer is, of course, summoning 6, so we're just going to pass it over to our opponent. But man, these mana Reshaper hits hitting Liliana's both times is pretty gross. Getting to sneak those into play, not only without having to pay the mana, but pass counter spells, is just very, very good, obviously. You can kind of see, though, how this deck's mana base is a little bit fragile. It's a really, really delicate balance between, like, trying to have double black and double green all the time and also trying to support these colorless spells, you know, with Field of Ruins and Spreading Seas and stuff like that. It's not that difficult for our opponent to cut us off of colors. My opponent's deck is probably not playing either any Spreading Seas or not very many. With the way it looks like it's built with opts and stuff like Thoughts. I mean, this post board, of course, so there's no guarantee that they have anything like Thoughtseize in their main, but like I said, I think being Esper or having things like Esper Charm, potentially Thoughtseize, having things like Opt, I think they're a lot less likely to have 4 Spreading Seas than a blue-white deck. They did let us untap here. I guess I'd dig for an Eldrazi Temple. I was trying to figure out if it made any sense for me to funnel a mana in here, and I guess it doesn't since I can only find colorless stuff off this anyway. They could negate this. They do not. We find another Eldrazi Temple, which is perfect. We're drawing real hot this game. Do we have perfect information? We do, right? There's no... These cards are all still there? No, they played field, obviously. Okay, that makes more sense. So they could have something like a settle, and we'd obviously get pretty heavily punished by such a thing, but I feel like I'm so far ahead that it wouldn't even be that backbreaking. You could have Cryptic bounce this. Yeah, it feels like a Cryptic, I guess. No? Okay. I guess I should have done this already. Doesn't really matter, though. But I would rather have the Thoughtseize exiled than like a Field of Ruin or an Opt. They do top a card. Field of Ruin Eldrazi Temple. So we get to leave our relic up. We do have to remember that we milled over our swamp. Target nothing here, and then leave relic up rather than play additional relic. I do think we cycle this EOT since we have another one and don't have a guaranteed land drop. So this turn we have to be particularly careful because, oh, I just totally didn't cycle at EOT. Even while I said I was going to, I just started talking about the next thing and went right through it. That's my fault. I apologize. We do have to be particularly careful of settle this turn, considering that my opponent topped a card. I think I might just attack with the Smasher. Maybe settle just, like, again, I'm still perhaps so far ahead that it would be fine. I think it's worth playing around with how far ahead we are too, though. Like, I also think we can afford to play around it, so... Okay, we're just getting Cryptic. Bouncing my Liliana so they can negate it. That's fine, since I don't really have anything else to do with my mana anyway. I'm fine with getting this negated. I probably should have left up this then instead of this, though. I guess it doesn't matter. No, it kind of does, because I don't have another basic. So they negate that, but if we, of course, are incredibly lucky and found another one. I guess I am supposed to pop this just right now, actually. See if we can hit our land drop. Makes this one a little worse, but not really, because I'm already crazy threat dense. And obviously we hit the best land we could have hit. Why not? In an Eldrazi Temple. Supreme Verdict, sure. But it does get to draw a card. Activate this now. All right, so pretty sure, whoops, that is not the correct one. Pretty sure they can't really beat this from here, so. They could have mana leak. But we already put them on not having mana leak in their list, most likely. Either way, I will see you in the next round.